Hello, everyone. Let me start by asking you a question. Have you ever wondered when you put on a sports game why some athletes seem superhuman in their abilities? Is it just because of their relentless training, or is there something more to it? I'm Riddhi Guruzu, and I'm excited to share my research on the genetic determinants of athletic performance. I'm currently presenting from Hyderabad, India, and I'm excited to talk to you all today. A special thanks to my mentor Rahul, whose guidance has been invaluable. I'd first like to talk about how I got to my research question. So, tennis is my life. I've been playing ever since I was 10, and I found myself having a lot of injuries on court. So, I would think about maybe gene editing for preventing injuries completely. And that led me to my research question, which is how do specific genetic loci enhance athletic performance across various body systems? So for doing that, I looked into the three body systems, which is muscular, the circulatory system, and the nervous system. I picked one gene hit from each of them and saw how they are contributing to athletic performance. And maybe, possibly, we could make superhuman using this information. So let me first talk about the muscular system. So as you might know, the muscles are crucial for movement and coordination. Um, and in our body, we have primarily two types of muscle fibers, fast twitch muscle fibers and slow twitch muscle fibers. So fast twitch muscle fibers are crucial for aerobic activities and explosive activities. Usually, players who are in weightlifting have a higher proportion of fast twitch muscle fibers. And slow twitch muscle fibers are crucial for activities which require using oxygen for prolonged periods of time. So they're more evident in athletes who do endurance sports like cycling. So the proportion of these muscle fibers depends from person to person. So I might be better suited for endurance performance if I have a higher number of slow twitch muscle fibers in my body. So a key gene that influences these levels is ACE. ACE is basically angiotensin converting enzyme. So what ACE does in our body is it regulates the blood pressure and the fluid balance. There's specifically an insertion allele of ACE, which increases the muscle oxygenation and is associated with a higher level of slow twitch muscle fiber. And similarly, there is a deletion allele or a D allele in ACE that is associated with the higher levels of fast twitch muscle fibers. So depending on if you have an insertion allele or a deletion allele, the combination of these fibers is there in your body. Moving on to the nervous system. So as you might know, the nervous system is crucial for coordination and rapid decision making. There is neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to form new neural connections. So neuroplasticity allows athletes to quickly adapt and refine their skills through learning. And you can, I think for this, I evaluated the gene BDNF or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Something interesting about BDNF is if, let's say, you were playing a sport for 2 hours, there would be a spike in BDNF levels in your brain. But you would still get that spike if you were, let's say, sitting in front of the TV and watching the sport. And that would allow you to reduce atrophy, which is memory loss, and also it is associated with higher neuroplasticity, like I talked about earlier. So let's say you were watching the sport and you went to learn something that you haven't tried before, you would probably learn it much faster because there's higher level of BDNF in your brain. So like I talked about ACE, BDNF has a minor A allele, which also improves the rapid decision making and motor responses in athletes. Now I'll talk about the circulatory system. So as you might know, the circulatory system is responsible for transporting oxygen from the heart to the rest of the body. And it's crucial for athletic performance because if there is faster oxygen concentration, then athletes are able to perform much better, right? Um, so for evaluating the circulatory system, I focused on the gene EPOR or erythropoietin receptor. What EPOR does is it allows the production of red blood cells in our body. So it affects the hemoglobin level. So an interesting thing about EPOR is there was a Finnish skier who had a mutation in EPOR, and this allowed him to have a higher number of red blood cells in his body. And that allowed him to have higher endurance performance because obviously he has higher number of red blood cells. And in fact, he won 3 Olympic gold medals after that. So um, I think genetics plays quite an important role in all of this. So I think I talked about the circulatory, muscular, and nervous system, but you might wonder, okay, now that you know about all of this, can we ultimately become the superhuman for the future? And is it something really that we should be doing? So I'm going to talk about gene modification and maybe some ethical issues. So right now there are new technologies like CRISPR, which allow athletes to do precise gene editing, but there is a lot of ethical considerations. So let's say I gene edit myself to become this athlete. And how is it fair for others also competing in the same sport? And moreover, there are side effects in terms of health. And other than CRISPR, there are some other neuromodifications like you put cathodes in your brain to see stimulate BDNF and all of these other neurotrophic factors. And also, there's steroids. I think that's been there for many long, and it allows for people to build up muscle. So I think to see all of this research after I came out of it, I thought that I could use it for maybe testing some athletes to see how each geographical location impacts their ability to excel. So that's it from my end. Any questions?
Hi, yes, there's a couple questions and comments. Actually, so the first one, not a question, but somebody had to type in and say how cool the graphics on your slides are. So bravo to you for your slide deck. Awesome. And then here's another one. I imagine it was cool to work on this project while the Olympics were going on. Do you have a favorite professional athlete or sports team?
I think my favorite athlete, being a tennis player, I have to say Djokovic, considering that
Uh-huh.
he's all the greatest of all time and he's won 24 Grand Slam.
Wow. Okay. And here I have a question. Like, so what was the most unexpected thing that you learned while working on this project?
Yeah, I think I after actually the research paper, I was trying to think of what like non-invasive methods could be there for seeing like athletic performance, and I found out about how AI could be used to stimulate like these specific organs, and instead of actually doing these experiments on mouses and seeing how they impact it, you could just use the AI model to stimulate and see what would happen as a result.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for sharing your research project interest as well as your wonderful slide. We're very excited by this.